Tonight, we are starting to get a look at what is inside these tentative agreements between the UAW and the Detroit Big Three. It comes as voting is set to start soon now for General Motors and Stellantis. Our business editor, Rob Maloney, is live on this story tonight to give us some insight into what exactly is in these deals. Rod.
Well, it's not so much what's in them, it's who's the winners and losers, at least. That's what we've been talking about here today. And, you know, it's a situation where the UAW did swimmingly well. And, in fact, UAW 900 just went ahead and approved by an 80-20 vote the contract. You'll remember they were the first local to go out. And so now we have analysts stepping back and looking at the $8 billion cost that it was for just the strike, and then the added cost to the car companies to see what that's going to mean. Now that the burn barrels are down, Wayne State University business professor Dr. Merrick Masters says the UAW met its audacious goals.
Clearly, it was a victory for the UAW. They got most of what they wanted that was attainable.
As for the companies, well, Wedbush Securities auto analyst Daniel Ives told Local 4.
So I think GM is probably a loser in the UAW talks. If you look at a winner, the winner is probably Tesla and the foreign automakers here, because that's probably the ones that gain share, you know, with the Detroit Three needing to raise prices.
He reminds the costs always get passed along to the customer or a supplier. Yet they both say the real casualty here is the Biden administration green energy mandate.
It's been a gut punch to that strategy. And right now, I think there's a lot of concerns about where this all goes in terms of GM, Ford doubling down on electric vehicles. Is that strategy potentially flawed now?
Masters says it's the true global companies like Stellantis that will likely succeed with electric vehicles, and the U.S. market may not catch up as quickly because of a lack of charging stations, among many other problems.
The global market, as it has been for many decades, is going to go rapidly ahead, and they're going to be in a constant position of having to catch up and realizing that the North American, the U.S. position is in decline.
Now, Stellantis sold a couple 100,000 EVs in Europe this year. That's kind of what he's pointing at, saying that they're going to probably do well on a global scale, and that's before their North American electric vehicles actually hit the road. So he says they're in good shape. For GM and Ford, not so much, because they are less global companies now than they used to be. Back to you.
So, Rod, give us an idea of what this GM ratification vote rollout is now going to look like.
Indeed. Now, I did just neglected that in just under 2 hours, Sean Fain's going to roll out the Stellantis details, right? At 7 o'clock, because their national council came to town, passed it on now to the membership. Same thing's going to happen tomorrow for General Motors, but I'm told it's probably going to be later. In other words, the national council starts at 4 o'clock, and it could take longer than 7 p.m. It may be 8 or 9 o'clock tomorrow night before we know what the GM deal is going to look like.
All right, Rod.